Hey guys, it's Rachel at From Moments to Milestones, and we have a new 7-card card kit featuring the 49 and Market Viken collection. And actually, they have a card kit of their own, and their card kit includes 8 envelopes, 8 card bases, 8 envelope seals, and 2 packages of rub-ons. So I took that card kit, added a little bit to it, and created 7 cards. So these are the cards that we are going to create today. And these are the envelopes you can also create. You can choose to do either side on the envelope. There's a polka dot side or a printed side. So that is what we're going to make today, so I will go ahead and get started. This one is a little different, where normally in our card kits, like everything you need is contained in one little clear envelope. Because we used a card kit in this one, it's going to be a little different, but I'm here to walk you through it. So let's get started. We will start with this card here, Sending Hugs. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to set this off to the side for a moment. We are going to open up the entire package and do some separating. So everybody's kit should look something like this. So you have some packages in the front. You're going to have a package of gems. These will be used on all 7 cards. And then you should have some envelopes labeled with what card number they are. You should have a half sheet of white cardstock, and then you're going to have your rub-ons. These are your envelope seals. And then this was once an envelope, so we have it cut down to like a card panel. We're going to fussy cut both of these things, but you should have both of these. And then you should have your 8 card bases. One of them is going to have a circle cut out already. So 8 card bases, they're pre-scored, white on the other side. And then you'll have 8 envelopes. So those are the different envelopes that come. Or you're actually going to have 7 because I cut one down. So what I'm going to do is I don't need the envelopes at all right now. I'm going to set those off to the side. And then what I have done on your instruction sheet, I'm going to pull that back in here real quick, is I have listed. So these are the instructions for the Sending Hugs card. And right before the instructions start, you'll have a need. And it's going to tell you what items you need to pull from the kit to create that card. So for this card, we are going to need the card base with the circle cut out already. So these are our card bases, and I'm just going to, this is the one, and the rest of them I'm just going to stack in front of me so I can pull from those again later. I'm going to need kit number 1, and it means this little envelope with the circle. I need the half sheet of white cardstock and the rub-ons and the gems. Everything else I'm going to put off to the side to pick through for the next card. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you have never used a rub-on before, you're going to be real familiar with them when we're done. And these rub-ons are better than they were 20 years ago when I was scrapbooking, and rub-ons were all the rage. And if you didn't use them real soon, they kind of dried up. But these are really nice rub-ons. I think you're going to like them. I did go in and cut a circle out of your rub-on, so keep that in mind. But what we're going to do, we are going to start. Let's just start with our card base. Goodness. So it's already pre-scored, so I'm just going to fold it on the lines and reinforce that real good with a bone folder. All right, and then we can take this little circle out of our envelope, our little kit here. I'm going to go ahead and take that one out. I don't need that anymore. And this circle is going to go around that pre-cut circle. So it's going to frame the circle, and you'll have a little bit of that watercolor still showing. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. All right, so now we're going to work with the rub-ons. And so in your rub-ons, there were these two sheets. You have words, and then you have flowers and butterflies. There was like a cardstock, just a separator in between. You can pitch that. And then you have this tool that we're going to use to actually do the, to rub them on with. So what we're going to do, we have this white cardstock, and then we're going to use this flower and this flower. So what I'm going to do is come in with some scissors, and I am just going to cut those out, and we're going to transfer them. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you one more thing. So on these rub-ons, all this is watercolored, so it has a soft look, and you can see like some watercolor splatters around, I hope it's not glaring, around these images. And I use those on my card around the sentiment. So you can see I rub them on here. So before I cut them out of here, I'm just going to cut, I'm not fussy cutting this out of here. I'm roughly cutting it out, but I'm going to leave behind those splatters to be used later. This is an optional cut. If you don't want to fuss with the splatters, maybe you want to use real watercolor splatters, then just ignore what I'm saying right now. And then the other thing I want to tell you before we get started is this little bit that's left here from the circle we cut out, we are going to use that. So you don't want to cut through it. If you do, it's okay, but you might want to avoid that. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut out this flower, and I'm just going to leave a little bit of that splatter. And then there's a little bit over here I don't need. And I'm going to set those off to the side to use later. And then I'm also going to cut out this flower here too. Okay, so now we don't need our rub-ons anymore. All right, let's have our sample here so we can see. And then real quick, I'm going to cut away just this splatter right there. That's enough for me. And then these rub-ons are on, there's a backing sheet. So you're going to pull off this backing sheet and throw it away. And then I'm going to start down here in the corner, and I'm going to lay that rub-on on the white cardstock. I'm just going to press it down a little bit to get it started, and then I'm going to use my tool and I'm going to rub it into the paper, and it'll transfer it from the acetate onto the cardstock. So you have two ends. I kind of like this thick end for large images, and I'm just applying pressure and going over. Sorry if the camera is shaking. Okay. I found that you can use the point if you want, but you can't cover as much ground. And I find the point useful when we're doing the thin scripty words from the rub-ons. The other thing is, if you wanted to save those splatters, you just don't press over them. That's the other way if you don't want to cut around them. But I'm just going to transfer the whole thing. And then what I'm going to do is get it started. I'm going to grab that acetate and start pulling up. Now I see I have a little bit of this leaf that didn't get transferred. So what I like to do is, while I pull, is to rub. And then we're sure, and do it slowly. That way if something doesn't transfer, you can put it right back in place and have it right where it needs to be. So now my acetate piece is clear. and we have the rub-on on there. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this one, and then we're going to fussy cut them. All right, so those are both transferred, so I'm just gonna cut them out of there so that I can fussy cut them. And then I'm gonna tell you, like, on these images, there's splatter, like, around there. So you can choose to cut it away, you can choose to add it, it's entirely up to you. In this particular card, like this one here, you don't even have to really worry about that much, it's getting covered up anyway. So you can see here, I just cut around, and nobody's really going to look at it that close and say, oh, I think that was a paint splatter, not a leaf. So just get in there and cut it out. I left a very thin white border, so if there is paint splatter, it's not super obvious. It's kind of hard with the watercolor edges to cut right up to the edge, but just do what you are comfortable with. Keep the splatters if you want, don't. It's okay. Okay, I've done both of the flowers, and now I'm going to pull back in my rub-ons, and we have two butterflies. So we're going to use this butterfly and this one. So I'm going to go in and cut them out, and I think that I'm going to save the purple splatters around the purple butterfly for my sentiment. So I'm just going to go in and cut those out and set them up here to the side. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull off the backing, press it onto the cardstock, rub it on. All right, so we have our images fussy cut, and then before we start putting them onto the card, we have one more transfer to make. So that's going to be the sentiment inside of the card. We have the sending hugs. So you're going to want to grab the word rub-ons, and the sending hugs is down here. So I'm not using the hearts or anything, just the word. So I'm just going to come in and roughly cut it out. And the rub-ons are just like, the whole sheet's not a rub-on, just where the color's at. So no need to worry about how you fussy cut it out of there. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull the backing off, and I'm just going to place it. Mine's kind of in the center. You're going to want your leaves, so if you want to roughly place your leaves, just see if you're happy with where that's at. I'm going to get it where I want it, kind of press it down. And I'm going to rub it on. And with this one, I'm going to go ahead and use the tip, so I make sure I get it all pressed in. So we have our sending hugs. And like I said, that looks good. If you want to use the paint splatters, you can. So I'm going to bring over my little scraps of splatters, and I'm just going to add some here and there. And 49 to Market has lots of transfers. They actually have a whole package that they sell of transfers on their own. They have one that, one of the sheets is just paint splatters and words and things to make stuff look distressed. So It's kind of an easy, not so messy way to add that look to your card. One more. I'm going to put some down here. I like to do things in groups of 3s if I can. All right. So our sentiment's on, and now we're going to go ahead and place our floral images on. So this one I glued straight on, but I don't want to put glue inside the circle. It's going to glue my card closed. So I'm just going to put some down here on the bottom. Like so. And then this one I have popped up. So I'm going to put some foam squares on the back of that. Okay. Here's what I like to do. I'm going to pull the backing off a couple. I'm going to take my tweezers, pick it up, and just slide it in. Well, it looks like we need one there. All right, got those down. And then we're going to add our butterflies. So I have one up here. And I'm going to kind of bend the wings back. I'm going to kind of create a flat spot to glue it so the wings pop up. And then if you want to reinforce that look, you can add some strips of foam to the wings. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm just going to put glue right here. And I want him right there. So press in where the glue's at. And then the foam will catch and keep his wings puffed up. So this is kind of tricky where it's hanging off. I might put a little bit right under this portion of the wing. I'm just going to cut down one of these little foam squares. And you can just pop up the whole thing. You don't have to press in his body, but it does give it the illusion that it's sitting there. And I'm going to do that same thing with this butterfly. And I'm going to try to put it on this green one because the green has no foam on it. So I'm not doubling up anywhere. So this time I'm just going to put the foam on the tips of the wings. And some glue in the center. Right there. All right, so we have that part of the card done. And our last touch would be to find your bag of gems. And this particular card has 5, and there's 2 sizes. There's large and small. So you don't have to follow mine exactly. I actually have a little tray here that I'm going to dump mine in so that I can continue to use them carefully so I don't lose any. All right, I'm going to get my jewel picker, and I need there's one, a small one, 3 small ones, right? 1, 2, 3, and 2 larger ones. All right, let's set this up here. And I have 2 up here by my butterfly. So I have a large one and a small one. One, 2, and then I have 3 down here. All right, that completes that card. All right, for our next card is the Oh Happy Day, Celebrate Today. So what we're gonna need is, I'm gonna get out my card bases, and we need the card base with the floral images on the left side. So that is going to be this one here. All right, so let's go ahead and just score that to get it out of our way. Okay, so this card base, we need kit number 2. So you have your little kits here. So we need the number 2 kit. We're gonna need the white cardstock, the rub-ons, and the gems again. So rub-ons, cardstock, and our gems are up there. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open this kit. So we have some coloring to do. So you should have a frame inside, some greenery, and some flowers. Okay, so this is what's in your kit, and what we're gonna do is we are going to ink up, we'll start with these white leaves. I'm just gonna do this on some scratch paper, back of my instructions actually. So what I'm going to do, I have some peeled paint distress ink and a sponge dauber. And I'm going to just ink them up. I'm going to cover the whole leaf with the peeled paint. All right, so I have those done. And now I'm going to pull in some walnut stain distress ink. And I'm just going to create some variation in color. So I'm not going to go over the whole thing. I'm just going to pick some areas to add it. We kind of have a watercolor look going on these cards. So watercolor mostly is imperfect. So just a little bit of variation. Okay. And then while I have this brown out, if you want to, you can ink the edges of these purple greenery pieces as well. I'm just do the same thing, just here and there. All right, so those are done. And then we should have some little flowers. So you should have, and these were cut from one of the envelopes. So you should have a large and 3 small, and then you have these itty bitty flower centers and 1 larger. So what I'm going to do is just lightly ink the edges of the flowers with some cracked pistachio. So lightly, because this is a very bright color. If you go too bright, you might not like the look. So very light. Okay. And if that's too bright for you, I told them you could use either peeled paint or some twisted citron and just add a little touch of the green, and it plays good with the watercolor flower we're going to cut out of the rub-ons. So I'm just adding it just here and there. Okay. So now we have these flower centers, and we're going to color all of those with black soot. So I have a makeup sponge here, some black soot, and I'm going to use my tweezers to hold it down and just give it color, spin it around. All right, so I have all those colored, and then what I'm going to do is just put those flower centers onto the flowers. So the largest one goes on the largest flower. And then we'll put the 3 little ones on the smaller flowers. All right, so now we're going to move on to the rub-ons. I'm going to grab my white cardstock again and the rub-ons, and we are going to need a few things. We'll go ahead and cut them out. We're going to need the Oh Happy Day. I'm going to go in and cut that one out. We need the Celebrate Today, which is here on the bottom. And then we are going to need this top right flower here. And again, if you want to leave the paint splatter behind for use later, you can do that. I'm going to. I don't remember if I use it or not, but I might. And then you also, I kind of forgot about that. You're going to need one of these hearts as well. So there's plenty of hearts to choose from. I believe it was this one up here to the left of the Oh Happy Day. And I'm going to take all the splatters with that one. Okay, so the Celebrate Today, let's start with that one. You should have a strip in your kit, a white strip. The Celebrate Today is going to go on to that white strip, and it should have a thin white border. Get it where you want it, kind of press it in, and like I'm just going to trim that off if it's not perfectly lined up. I'm going to rub it on. That is transferred. I didn't get that quite centered, so I'm just going to trim that up so it matches. Okay. And then this flower is going to go on white cardstock, and we're going to fussy cut that as well. All right, so we've got all of our images cut and colored and ready for assembly. So I'm going to pull in my card base now, and you have this white circle frame. So I'm not going to put it down yet. I'm just going to kind of place it. It's not really in the center. It's off to the left a little, but it is centered from top to bottom. And then we're going to go ahead and put down this word, Oh Happy Day. So I'm going to leave the backing on while I play with the placement a little. And it's really going to fit in there. So maybe I am going to take this. You have to be careful once you pull the backing off, because it tries to grab to the paper. So now I can see where it's going to go. And I want it to just sit above this flower, or this leaf here, and I want it to stay inside. So I may have to move my circle a little, but I'm happy with that placement. So I'm going to press it in. I'm going to go ahead and transfer it on. All right, so we're good with that. So now I have my circle popped up. So I like to use some thin foam strips, and I'm going to put those on the back. So I'm going to pull the backing off, just half of it, like so that my foam can be manipulated around the circle. it'll kind of bend and move with it. Or you can cut a bunch of small straight strips if you choose. All right, so I have the foam on the back of that, and I'm going to go ahead and place that down. So center it. I want to make sure that "Oh Happy Day" is inside. There it is. Sometimes when you die cut, it leaves some rough edges, so I'm just taking my tweezers. Jeez, spit it out. I'm taking my tweezers and just rubbing that off. All right. Okay, so we've got the "Oh Happy Day," and now we're going to build up our images here. So I have my flower, and so it's at the bottom just where it won't hang off the bottom. I'm just going to put one dot of blue because I want to be able to tuck in these other things. So I'm going to go ahead and put him on there. And then that way I can take my greenery pieces and tuck them in. So I have that one there. I have one here. I'm also going to get a large foam square, and that will go behind there in just a minute. This. I'm just going to place them, and then I'm going to glue them down. And then we have the other thicker purple is in there. Go. This one is kind of popping up there. I'm going to go ahead and put in this foam square. I'm going to use my tweezers again. And that will keep it the same level as the circle. All right, so what we have left is this large flower here, and that is going to go here, and I do have that one popped up. Put there. And then these three little ones, I've got one here. I've got one actually glued to the card base itself. And I have one more in here. And I am going to put them on foam as well. Just this one. And this one just going to glue straight down. All right, a couple finishing touches here. We need to do the sentiment, and it comes in here, which I didn't think about while I was gluing in my greenery, but that's okay. We could just kind of go over it. It's no big deal. I'm going to get a foam strip, and I am going to put foam. I'm going to kind of have it like so. Okay, if you don't like that, you could put it over here. You could omit it altogether. I'm gonna stick with what I did the first time and kind of put it in here. I'm just seeing where I like it. I kind of like it right there. So I need foam just that much. But what I need, I can either glue it straight to those leaves, or if I want it to pop up even more, which is what I'm going to do, I'm going to put double foam on it. Okay. It's going to go like so, and then I'm going to need double foam down here, so just a little bit. I am going to place that right there. And then I am going to put a little strip behind. Peel off the backing. use my tweezers. And just right here where it comes over the circle. And that'll keep it popped up. There we go. We have one. We have the gems to add, and I added this little heart. So I'm going to pull off the backing. And I just have it up here in the corner. Rub that on. Oops, see, I didn't get those little splatters right there. All right. And then the finishing touch is going to be the gems. So this card has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gems. And a small one. And over here I have another large. All right. Now that cart is complete. All right, we are on to the next card, A Simple Thanks. And so the items we're going to need for this, I'm going to grab the card bases. So it says the card base with the floral images on the bottom with no dragonflies. So this one has images at the bottom, but there are dragonflies, so we don't want that one. And it's going to be this one. There's floral images on the bottom, and we're actually going to use both card bases for this card. You're also going to need, there is no kit for this one, but there will be this piece here. So that, what used to be an envelope, and it looks kind of like a card front, that. So you have 2 card bases and the front of an envelope, and they all look similar, you can see. So we're going to do some fussy cutting. So we're going to take one card base and we're going to fold it and score it. All right, and then these other 2, we are going to fussy cut the images out, leaving a thin border. So I'm just going to come in here, I'm going to leave a thin border, and then we're going to just pop it up and put it right where it goes on the other card base. So just cut with a thin border, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm on to cutting. This was polka dot on the back, so it used to be an envelope. And you can see it's kind of messy in here. You don't know where to start. I just dove in. I cut some things away. Nobody's going to know what was there and what wasn't there. And this envelope, because it's an envelope, it's a little bit larger than our card base, so you can pick which side you like best. One of them is going to get trimmed a little bit. I think about 1/4 of an inch is going to come off, so keep that in mind. That's really not that big of a deal. I mean, when you're looking at it, you're just not going to know that when it's finished, what you left or didn't leave. All right, so I have both of those images fussy cut, and what I'm going to do is build up foam on the back of them, and then this one that matches completely is going to lay over there, and this one I'm going to flip over and it's going to come there. So I'm going to put foam on the back, and then we'll attach them. Okay, I've got the backing pulled off this large piece of foam. And so this is how you can tell them apart is the one with the polka dot is going to go at the top because it's the envelope, and the one that's white on the back is going to match right up with the bottom of the card base. So I'm going to start with this polka dot on the back. It's the top, and I'm going to line it up just like so. Actually, I'm going to do it over here. I don't think I pulled the backing off. There it is. I forgot a piece. All right. So put it here, line it up at the top, stick it down, and then I have a little bit hanging off back here. I'm just going to snip that off. All right, and then I'm going to remove the backing on this and do the same thing. All right, so the backing's removed. I'm just going to place that right over what was already there. So, all right, and now we need the sentiment, which comes from the word rub-on sheet. A simple thanks. So I'm just going to go in and cut that strip off. And then it's going to go right in here. So just remove backing. Hold on to it with my tweezers. I'm just going to snake it in there, right where I want it. You might want to make sure yours is straight. I'm not sure if mine is, but I'm also not sure if it'll come back up. Nope. All right. Just going to go in there and give it a good press. Now, when you use the pointy end, you can actually see it released from the paper and get pushed in. So, I like to still go back over and smooth out any marks. It just makes indentations in the cardstock, and I don't love that. All right, so there's the sentiment. And I'm just going to go in back with these gems and add some bling. There. And there. Another large one right there. All right, so that card is finished. All right, our next card is Hugs and Hello Friend, it says in there. So we are going to need to locate our card base, which is the card base with floral images and dragonflies. So we're going to want that one this time. And we're going to need kit number 4 and your rub-ons and your white cardstock. And obviously your gems, but we'll put those on at the end. So let's start by folding our card base and scoring it, reinforcing that score line. And then I'm going to get out our kit ingredients here. And then we need the Hugs Hello Friend, so I am going to come in and cut that out. Then from the transfer sheet we need the remaining green flower and the full. There's 2 purple butterflies left. One is facing sideways. We want the one that is not facing sideways. So I'm going to put the butterfly and the flower onto white cardstock. And then again, if you want to save any of those splatters, I'm going to go in and just cut a few away because I might use them later. This is optional. You do not have to do that. So I'm going to put the flower on there, press it in, and the butterfly as well. Go ahead and rub them in. All right. So I am going to fussy cut the flower and the butterfly, and then we'll put our card together. All right, so we have everything fussy cut and ready to go. So now we're going to put the card together. So I am going to start by putting this white frame onto the card. And it's over to the left, centered on this side of the card. And I did use foam on the back. All right, so I've got the backing removed, and I'm going to go ahead and place that down. Okay, and now I'm going to pull the backing off the Hello Friends Hugs, and that's just going to go centered in there near the top. I just want to make sure it is straight. And then I'm going to go ahead and press it in and rub it in. All right. that's on there. And then this flower is going to go in the corner, and we have the greenery pieces behind. So I'm just going to tuck those in. And you could certainly add ink to these if you wanted to make them varied in color. Just going to leave them as is. This one's going to come out here. And then I'm just going to put glue like so on the frame, and then I'm going to tuck in some foam. Let's tuck in some foam squares. So I'm just going to pull the backing off. Pick them up, slide it in. All right, then I'm going to, so I have those on, I'm going to cut some thinner pieces to go behind the purple leaves, because I kind of want those to pop up at the end. I'm going to pull the backing off of them. Tuck one back here, and one right here. Not be enough to keep it up. I probably need one right there too on that leaf. I'll hold it down and keep it from curling up. All right, so then we need to add our little butterfly, which we just have right in here. And so I'm going to do that same where I bend the leaves and kind of create a flat spot. So I'm going to put glue on the flat spot. Put down the butterfly, and then if you want to keep those wings up, I'm going to tuck some foam in there. Slide it in there like that. All right, so we're going to finish it off with some gems. All right, so we're going to finish it off with some gems. And I've got one down here. And then I'm going to go here and here. All right, the gems are on, and that card is completed. Okay, we're on to card number 5. So let's go ahead and get what we need. So we have 3 card bases left. So we want the one with the flowers on the left-hand side this time. I'm going to go ahead and score that. All right, and then we're going to need kit number 5, just like this. We're going to need our rub-ons and white cardstock, and then we are also going to need from those kits I showed you. This is the envelope, like the flap. So we cut apart, so it's polka dot on one side and has flowers on the other. So that's what we're going to need to put this together. So we will start with this piece. Actually, we're going to fussy cut this out just like we did on the 3rd card. So I left a slight border, and I'm just going to cut out the image. All right, so I have that fussy cut, and it has a round edge, but we're going to fix that here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and open up my kit here and pull out those contents, throw that away. And we have some white flourishes. So one of them goes down here, one of them goes up here, and then you have this other rectangle piece. So that piece is going to go here. We're just gonna tear the edge, pull it towards yourself, and I am just going to put a little bit of adhesive in the corner so I can tuck that scroll in, and then I can finish gluing it down. So I'm going to put that like so. Okay, and then this little white scroll piece is going to tuck in there behind. Right, and then up here, before we glue it down, I'm going to kind of pull it off. And so if you look on the back, I'm going to center it so that I can cut that point. And so you can either hold it on there, or I think I used a pencil. I have a pen, and I'm just gonna draw those lines, and then I'm gonna trim them. Obviously, if you have a paper trimmer, you can use that. Line that up, and I'm gonna use my straight edge longer scissors to do the other side. I think that'll be easier. There we go. All right, so now we have that straight edge. And so we're gonna pop this one up, or you don't have to, you can leave it down if you want. But this little swirl is going to tuck in behind. So I'm going to actually glue the swirl down first, using those flowers as a guide. That way if I want to pop it up, I can. I'm going to turn it upside down because I think that's going to be easier for me. And actually I want that end. Maybe it's not going to be easier the way I have it in my, so it's going to be like this. Very like edge to edge, and then that's going to go set right on top. So I have mine popped up. I think this time I'm just going to put it straight down like the other one. All right, and then so we have a few items that are transferred directly onto the card base, so we're going to start with those. So we have a teal butterfly that is facing sideways. I'm going to cut him out. And then we need the "You're the Best" sentiment. All right. And we also are going to need this. I'm going to cut out the other two things as well while we're at it. So we need the "I Am Grateful" strip under the thanks. Okay. And then we need the, there's one more butterfly. So this purple sideways facing butterfly. All right. So this purple sideways facing butterfly is going to go on to white cardstock, and we're going to fussy cut it. So I'm going to do that quickly. All right, and then the other is you have this "I Am Grateful," and I'm going to put that onto some white cardstock as well. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight because we're going to cut right up to the edge on this one. Take my long straight edge scissors and just cut right up to the edge on that one. Okay, so those two elements are cut out, and now we can place the other pieces because I wanted that to use as a guide for this. So the "I Am Grateful" kind of comes down here at the bottom of the card. It butts up to the edge, and then it slightly overlaps the you're the best. So I'm good with that. So press that in. All right. And then this "I Am Grateful" is popped up. So put some foam on the back of that. match. All right, and then this little butterfly is going to go, it's sitting on that flourish, so I'm going to put foam on the back of him, and he's right there. And then lastly, you have this teal butterfly facing sideways, and he is up here, and we're just going to put him directly onto the card base. All right. Now if you want here, I think I'm going to add a few of these splatters that I have left over. So I'm just going to lay them down and press them on. And it's just a subtle thing that you don't even really notice, but it's kind of fun. And we need to add the gems, and then this card is finished. Let's bring our gems over. I have 2 over here. I've got one up here. And so those splatters just kind of reinforce the gems too. It just adds to what's going on there. So then I've got a couple here. And I've got one here and one up here. So a larger one up here and a smaller one by the little butterfly. All right. And now that card is completed. All right, our sixth card is Thanks You're Sweet. So let's pull what we need. So you have 2 card bases remaining. We need the one with the floral images. This one's all watercolor. So the one with the floral images and the dragonflies. You should have a kit number 6. We're gonna need your rub-ons and your white cardstock and the gems. So let's get started. Oh, you're also gonna need your envelope seals this time, these round stickers. All right, so we are going to score the card, or reinforce the score lines. And then I'm going to open the kit here and get out these circles. So you have 2 white circles, and then you have one is a scallop circle with a white circle inside. I did tape that circle inside, because this is like a lawn fawn die, and that circle cut out, and then these are different size circles. So anyway, to create less confusion, I just taped them together, and that's fine because it's going to stay together that way anyway. So what we want to do here with these circles is to pick 3, I'm probably not even on camera, is to pick 3 of the envelope seals to go inside each one of those circles. So it's really up to you. You could go really bold here, and I kind of wish maybe I would have a little bit more, pull in some of that purple. It's entirely up to you what you want to choose, but we're going to pick 3 and place them on the card, or onto the circles. So I'm going to use this watercolored one here. And I did in the center, I used the polka dot one, but today I think I might use that really dark purple just to pull in some more of that purple. But there's really no right or wrong, all the colors match. Okay, and then let's use, I think I want the green. I think I'm just going to use that same one that I use, which is that one. And then these you can use to actually seal your envelopes if you want. I'm going to set those off to the side. And now let's get our rub-on. So we need the remaining pieces of this. So we are going to use all the remaining butterflies. So there's a small one up here. We have this little blue and green one with the polka dots and the dragonfly. And there's some more splatters. I'm going to keep those. Then I'm going to put the dragonfly and the 2 butterflies on white cardstock and fussy cut them. All right, I've got my little butterflies and dragonfly cut. And so now we're going to assemble the card. So I'm going to start by putting foam on the back of these. Should I do bigger foam squares? On the back of these circles. So I'm going to kind of put it over where they meet. So hold that together. These. All right. I want to add some purple. I know that's kind of weird, but I'm going to add some of these purple rub-ons on there and see if that helps. Perfect. It's a silly detail, but to me, I like it. And then there is writing on it, so I might do them that way. But what I'm going to do is pull off the backing of the center one, and then we'll build around it. So just find the center point. And lay it down. And then these 2 will lay around, or lay on either side. Have one there. And one there. All right, now we're just going to lay these guys on there. And you can add more foam if you want. Depends on how bulky you want your card to be. If you're mailing it out, you might not want it to be that bulky. And then we're going to lay our butterflies on there. This guy there. Alright, I just realized to put it doesn't matter. See, it doesn't matter where you put the butterflies. Alright, and then if you want to go in and add those, I'm going to take these little mini foam squares and cut them in half. Remove the backing. And then, oops, that one wasn't dry yet. And I'm just going to slide them in behind the wings to keep them popped up. But you can pop the whole thing up or not pop anything up. It's up to you. All right, so I've got the butterflies, the dragonfly on there, so we're going to finish with the sentiment. And this time we're going to put them directly onto the card base. So I'm going to cut out the thanks and the you're sweet. So I'll start with the thanks, and I'm going to just put it right down here in the corner. Alright, and I'm just realizing that on my sample, I cut off these like parenthesis things, but I've already got them on there, so you can omit them or leave them if you want. It's up to you. And then the you're sweet, I'm just going to center that below the word thanks. we've got some gems around to finish it off. So we got one there, there, and up here. Two small and a large. All right. And that card is completed. All right, we're ready for our 7th and final card. So you should have one remaining card base, the watercolor card base. So we're gonna go ahead and fold that and reinforce that score mark. Okay. And then you should also have a kit number 7, which has 2 circles and a white strip. Come out of there. Okay. And then your remaining white cardstock, your remaining rub-ons, which you should just have that outline and the circle and a few words. So we are going to start by, we're going to use, you can decide which part, you can either have the purple at the bottom or at the top with the green, which is what I did that time, so I'm going to stick with that. And then we have this outline and the circle that was in it. So if you want to take the time and try to line it up, I find the easiest way is like right here, I can see part of a green flower, and so that matches up. And I'm gonna take a piece of Post-it, which like we have all these were Post-it tape, and so I'm just gonna put that on there for the time being to hold that together. And then I am going to place this in the top center of my card. Okay, but while I have it like so, I'm just going to take off the back of the outline. Okay, and I'm not paying any attention to this butterfly. We are going to cut him out in a minute or so. So you can keep in mind where you want your flowers to be. And I'm happy with that placement, I think. And so I'm going to press it down. I'll lift that up. And then I'm going to take that center circle out. I don't need that right now. Okay, I hope that made sense. So what I'm going to do is rub on the outline of that circle. We're going to go back and put the circle on here in a little bit on a different piece, but I wanted to get that where we wanted it. So now that's, I know it looks weird, but it won't when we're done. So I'm going to rub it on, right onto the card base. Okay? Now, keeping in mind, I'm going to line this back up for one reason. So I can see that green flower again. That's where I want it. And, well, I'm going to wait. I'll come back to that. I'm confusing somebody, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and cut out the butterfly. So you can use an X-Acto knife. You can kind of, like I'm just going to, you can kind of bend it and get something started so you can get your knife in there or your scissors. Because I'm just going to go in and cut them out. All right, so we cut out the butterfly and we're going to put him on white cardstock and fussy cut him. So then what I'm going to do is take this. So you should have, you have 2 circles that were in that little number 7 kit. You have a white one and you have a watercolor one. We're going to take this watercolor one and we're going to take this circle and we're going to transfer it on there. So it should match up perfectly. They were both die cut with the same die. Get it on there to match. Press it in and transfer it on. All right, so all that's transferred. So now you have this circle wreath. And we're going to go back and find the Make a Wish. And we're going to put the Make a Wish onto the circle, but if you want it to match back up, then you don't want to just haphazardly put this on there, or your card will be upside down. So if it doesn't matter to you, because we're going to have this white piece in between, and so for instance, I'm not going to match it up. Nobody's going to be able to tell at first glance. So it's really no stress here, but if you're an A-type personality like myself, I want it to match. So I am going to match it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to put the Make a Wish in the center, where I feel like I can read it. Right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. All right, so my Make a Wish is on there, it's lined up, and so now I'm going to take this piece and glue it directly to the white circle. And you'll have a thin white border. Okay, and then I'm going to put foam on the back of that. All right, so now I've got that backing pulled off. I'm going to line up my Make a Wish, a circle on there. All right. And now you should have, from your kit, you should have a white strip, and we are going to find the green It's Time to Party strip from your Word rub-ons. And we're going to rub that on there. So this should have a thin white border. So we'll rub that on. Okay. And then that is just going to go straight on. I did not pop it up. You could if you wanted. I just have it at the bottom slightly hanging off. And so you may want some foam on that piece that's sticking out. Tuck a little piece in behind there. Okay, and then our little butterfly, same thing. And I have them right on the edge of the sentiment. And you can go back in and add the foam as well if you wish. All right, so that part's done. So now we're gonna finish it off. You can tell mine has a little bit more splatter. So there's two things that you can do. On my card here, I took some Dusty Concord, a clear stamping block. I put some ink on the block, and then I sprayed some water onto the block, and then I'll just show you here quickly, not on my card. But then I took a small paintbrush and I just went in, mixed it all up, and then if you flick off the side, so you get splatters, okay? So that's one way. And then you could cover what you don't want splattered. So that's one way to get the splatters. Just dry these up so I don't get it all over my card. Okay. Or the other option would be is that I saved splatters from the rub-ons, and so I'm going to use those today. So I'm just going to lay them down and transfer them on, and I'm going from the bottom left up towards the right corner of my card. So this is the less messy way. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with those. That one just looks too much like that one. I'm just going to put some of it on there. All right. So there's the difference from those purple splatters to using the ones that come in with your rub-ons. The other thing you can do, and so I'm going to show you quickly, this is what we have left. We used all the flowers and butterflies. We have these words left and several hearts. So I'm going to pick some hearts and place. I'm actually, when I made this card, I didn't have 3 left, but I do at this point. So I'm going to use 3, I think. So I'm going to come in here and take this, the one that's right above Love You. And they also have splatters around them, which is good. I'm going to put one up there. And then there's another small, that same color purple here. I'm going to use that one. And that one's down here. And if you wanted, you could use either this dark purple, which I think that's what I'm going to do. There's blue. Or the other purple. Let's just do the 2 for now and see what we think. We'll just do what we did the first time. All right, so I have one heart. I'm just gonna put it up here. And I'll transfer it on. And then we're gonna put the jewels around it as well. So probably 2 would be good. I like to do things in 3s, but there's not 3 of that colored heart left. So we'll see what we can do with what we have. So this one, I'm gonna put right there, press it in. All right, so I've got those 2 hearts on there and I'm happy with that. So now we're gonna get out the remaining jewels. You should have 5 and they are giving me fits. All right. So I've got 2 up here by this tall skinny heart. And then you may want to put them somewhere else, you know, according to your splatters. So I've got a big one and then a little one. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to swap a big one for a little one since I have the wrong. I don't know about you, but I could fuss all day with the placement of gems. So I'm just gonna go for it. That card is complete, and so is our video. I hope you enjoyed this card class. It's a little different, but I think it was fun. I hope you enjoyed the rub-ons. You know what? Before I finish up, I'm just thinking here that I didn't talk to you about the envelopes, which I will briefly, I'll put one together because maybe you don't know how to put it together. So this is what your envelope looks like. You have a polka dot side and you have the printed side. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and just use it to reinforce those lines. So pull them all in like so. And then for me, like, you don't want your envelope to be upside. I guess there's no right or wrong, but if I were addressing it, I think I would want to go here. So I'm going to fold those in and I'm going to use some wet glue, maybe, okay, and go down like so. Hold those closed and then pull up on the bottom flap and just press. And then I am going to go back in and reinforce that. All right. So that's how you're going to put your envelopes together. And then in order to seal them, you have the envelope seals, or you could use glue if you're going to send them out. But this is where the envelope seal comes in, like so, and it holds it shut. Okay, so that's how you put you'll have 7 envelopes to put together, and then your card kit will be complete. So these are the cards that we made. I did enjoy this. It was kind of, I don't know if I'd say tedious, just all the extra work with the fussy cutting and the transferring, but an easy way to grab a kit and go. We really didn't add much to it. So thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in a kit, you can go to www.frommomentstomilstones.com, and we sell our kits there. This is the 49 and Market Viken kit. So you can check it out there. Thanks so much for watching.